Hello, everyone, and welcome to Candid Coffee. And today on our podcast, we have the incredible Ronawati Wongsoh, who's joined us to be interviewed today and to really share with us her broad experience. So let me tell you a little bit about Ronawati, or Rona, as I'm going to refer to her as we go through the interview. I had the opportunity to meet Rona through the Veblen program about maybe 5 or 6 months ago. And what an incredibly talented woman. A couple of things that really struck me is not only has she held very senior roles in large corporations, but Rona took the time and to made the choice to actually decide that she wants to affect many companies at scale, and therefore she went into her own consulting company as well. And of course, and when you can see on the screen, Ronawati is really looking for profit optimization, helping companies to turn their businesses around. And I think very interesting for what it may mean from a board perspective as well. And while she was doing that, Rona also authored a book. And that book is called Company Makeover for Massive Profits. I think also that may be very interesting for a board perspective, right? How do we grow profits for an organization? So I am really excited today to share with you the wonderful experiences of Rona. But apart from Rona's professional career, let me tell you a little bit about the woman that I've come to know. The woman that is driven, extremely driven. Just look at all the accomplishments that Rona has had. But a woman who also enjoys the beautiful things in life. Rona was just sharing with me how she was in the US a couple of weeks ago and Canada, and really talking about the fall foliage and how important that was to see. And that really strikes me, or really tells me a lot about Rona living in the moment, taking the time to appreciate things that matter, appreciate things that are beautiful in this world. And when I balance that woman that lives in the moment with the incredible, talented professional that sets up organizations for the future, that gives such an incredible opportunity to focus on how do we work on here and now, but also how do we think long-term for how we can set up these organizations. So with that, I would like to welcome Rona. Rona, thank you so much for joining us today on Candid Coffee.
I'm honored, and it's my pleasure to speak with you today.
Thank you, Rona. So Rona, you and I joined the Veblen community, and this podcast is all about us getting to know the incredible talent that sits within the Veblen community, and importantly, tapping into your insights, your learnings on your career, but also how that has helped you to become a better board member and really provide incredible board service as you have advanced in this opportunity to seek board positions as well. So listeners, you and I are like folks who are really interested in what board service could look like. This gives us an opportunity to us to learn from you, Rona, and your experience. So Rona, tell us a little bit about your journey. Tell us about your journey, how you got to where you are today, and how does that actually manifest into board positions that you are seeking?
Yeah, thanks, Arvashni. Well, I live and grew up in Indonesia, but I was educated for my bachelor and master degree in the US. Since childhood, I am used to work because at that time my parents owned a famous fried chicken restaurant, so I helped them out when I was small. I think when I was in senior high school. And it taught me about discipline, about time management, because although we are not paid and we were helping my parents, but we have to adhere to the work schedule that was given. So it means like there are 5 of us, but 3 of us help our parents at the same time. So as you know, like when we were in junior high school or in senior high school, we have exam, we have tests, etc. So we have to manage. So in the sense, if it's our turn to work and we need to study, I have to switch time with my brother or sister. So it taught me about time management, of being disciplined and being responsible. And I was also taught to have responsibility in early age, because even when I was in senior high school, maybe when my parents is not here, they are taking vacation, I handle all of the management of the restaurant. So I was given responsibility at the early age of managing people, managing finances, and taking responsibility. And that brought me to the experience or the time when I worked. Because after I graduated from high school, then I went to the US for my bachelor and master degree. And being away from my parents, it helped me to enhance my decision-making skill, because I was alone. Nobody really to ask for many of the decisions that I have to make. And it helped me to learn to live independently. I know that probably sounds, I would say in the US is very common, somebody who is 18 years old and they live away from the parents. But in Indonesia, usually we live with our parents until we get married. So being away from my parents during my university time enhanced me to live independently and to make or be a decision maker. And after I graduated from the US, getting my MBA from the University of Texas, Austin, and my bachelor from the University of Southern California in Los Angeles, I went back to Indonesia. I worked for an oil and gas company, and then to a German company, a big German company, and then a few local big conglomerate in Indonesia in various industries. I feel very fortunate that I am the right person at the right time and at the right positions. Having worked in oil and gas company and in the banking industry, it gave me a foothold or foundation of my experience. I learned to work in multinational company and how things managed professionally. So I worked in a local company. What I like of working in the local company, and especially being as CFO, so it means that I was someone in a position to make policy, is that we are in the driving seat. It means that I am a policy maker. While in a multinational, I'm more of the doer, because all of the policy have been given or have been formulated by the head office. But with the local companies, we are the head office. So if I am the CFO, it means that I am the policy makers. And I feel that I can give a lot or make a lot of difference and contribute it more to the company with my experience, with my background. I think in particular, when I was a CFO of a big conglomerate in Indonesia, it was during a turbulent time of monetary crisis and also political crisis, starting in 1997 until about 2000. I joined the company in 1994. At that time, I had the company build the infrastructure and make the company able to grow. And I just completed my 2.5 years of the execution of my strategy when this thing happens. And I'm glad that I did prepare the company, which I didn't know at that time that we would have this turbulence, but it really prepared us, because otherwise we would not survive. And then in 1997, after I completed the strategy, then the turbulence happened. Luckily that we already have the infrastructure and the capacity, and most importantly, we made the right decisions. So the company and the group survived the monetary crisis and political crisis, because at the time, many big groups collapsed.
Rona,
yes.
Can I ask you a quick question on that? How did you what made you think about preparing the company ahead of even what was happening with the financial crisis? What were some of the indicators to you that something must change?
Yeah. When I joined the company is a very good company. It's a big company, the sales is thriving, But I see that the finance part is not managed properly, in my opinion. So I started looking, because I look at, if it is done this way, it will limit the company growth. So I have to do something. Otherwise, the company will be stalled. So I did build the infrastructure, the funding, etc. So we have the capacity to grow.
Awesome. That's fantastic, Rona. And I like that I did the point that you can see the future, right? You can sort of have a look at all of the different points and say, hey, something must change, which is fantastic.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about your journey into your own consulting company. How did that happen?
Okay. So in 2018, there is the last company I worked in, a plywood manufacturer. And I feel like at that time, I feel like, I would like to give or contribute it more to the companies or to the society in general. So how can I do it? Because I have 30 years of experience, 20 years as CFO. And when I was younger, I was always dreaming of helping others or being a teacher or sharing my knowledge to other people. So I think, well, consulting is one way.
Mm.
And then at that time, I also used a coach, a digital marketing coach. And he said, well, people need to get to know you as well. So if they know and trust you, then they will be more confident to use your service. What would you like to do? What you always dream you would like to do? I said, I always dream to write a book. So that's you go. It's a very nice venue as well for you to reach your dream, and also at the same time for people to get to know you and trust you. So I wrote a book, and then I have an online course, I had a webinar, and then later also I had a business coaching. So it gave me satisfaction to help people out. These companies are much smaller companies than when I worked at that time, because I worked for a lot bigger companies. And the impact I made to them, I think, can be seen, I would say, instantly or within a short period of time. And I feel that I could make a difference to their business. So that what gave me satisfaction, that I have helped them and contribute and add value to them.
Oh, wonderful. Rona, when you were sharing your story of being a really young girl working in your parents' franchise or chicken business, as you shared, you shared a couple of things. You said it was discipline, you learned time management, and you learned independence, right? Because you had, and I think that's wonderful. I would like for us to really think about how did that discipline, the time management, the independence, help you in how you started to think about board service. Share with us a little bit around that journey.
Yeah, I think time management, consistency, discipline, responsibility, independent, I think very applicable in our life, being an executive or being a board member, because sometimes they have lots of strategy, but maybe fail on the execution because they don't really consistently implement the strategy. So as a board advisor, I could help them to be on the right track. If they have the strategy, they have the discipline to implement, and maybe not getting lured by another shiny object if they really believe in their strategy. And time is really the essence, because like I said, when I help companies survive and build the infrastructure, time is really the essence, because if I did it late, then we may not survive.
I think that's incredible.
Yeah. And sometimes the opportunity come very fast, and you have to take that opportunity fast. And just to share that I became a CFO when I was 32 years old, and so very, very young. And I had no family relationship. This is purely professional. And I was CFO in a big group, I would say. So it was really an honor for me, for the owner, for the CEO to trust me, the young woman, at the time it was not common, but I think nowadays with the startup, etc., young people have a lot more opportunities. But at the time, being young is not really advantage, because people look more experienced.
I can believe that, right? And in sharing your CFO experience, I'm also hearing from you diversity in female, right? Young female, gender, of course, age, being young, younger. And that makes me think about board compositions nowadays, right? When previously we'd always think about board composition as generally being older, being men, and also from a color perspective, mostly people who are predominantly white, not so many people of color. So, Rona, you yourself are female, you are a person of color, of Asian descent, and you are younger in your role as well. Tell me a little bit about how those diversity factors helped or could have been a challenge for you as part of your positions that you held.
Okay. As a CFO, I have never felt that because of my gender or age is why I am in that position, because I feel that all of it is about merit, because I am someone who is suitable in the position. So if someone asks me, do you ever feel discriminated? No, I don't feel discriminated, because what I earn it to get there. And I feel like there is no discrimination. But in being a female and being young, I would say give a different perspective in the boardroom. Because I remember, like, when we are talking in the board, sometimes all of the perspective is about men, especially when we are talking about benefits, employee benefits. So I thought if I wasn't there, if I wasn't the woman, then probably that policy will pass, but because I'm a woman, I share what I think is not fair, for the woman, then that policy didn't pass. So I contributed to my fellow employees, for the fellow women employees. So I think it matters to have a different kind of perspective or point of view, because sometimes they don't realize it, that because they are already there, right? They are being male, and it's mostly male dominated. So having a woman, and I think in your case it's also like a color, give a different perspective of the way we think, because a different background as well. So when we see an object from a different perspective, of course we see things differently. Right. So I think it's very good to have diversity of board member.
Oh, and that is so powerful, right, Rona, what you've just shared with us as well. And I love the real life example of saying you brought yourself a different viewpoint onto a board so that your fellow board members could actually appreciate multiple challenges that could exist for various employees as well. That is really powerful, Rona. Rona, share with us your journey now with Veblen has also moved on, right? And you have now joined the STEMS group as a non-executive director. So tell us a little bit about joining STEMS and what your journey has been like on that board.
Yeah, I really feel honored and appreciate that I am in the advisory board of STEM Reps, and I see the journey of the founder. The founder has been in business like about 8 years and has been progressing slowly. With us being in the advisory board, I see that now he is picking up track, so he is moving forward very fast, I would say, compared to his 8 months journey. And now with us, like for a few months, it gave him not just motivation, but also a different perspective. And the energy is there that now he is really going, like, let's say, for the fundraising on how to grow the business, etc. So I would say that it makes a difference whether you have advisory boards or not.
What have you learned, Rona, along your journey, especially now with STEMS Reps, right? Is there any key learnings you'd like to share with our listeners?
Yeah, I think first of all, we need to focus. Yeah. So in this advisory board, we have subcommittee. We have a subcommittee of finance. We have subcommittee of marketing, subcommittee of product. We need to focus what directions the company is going. I think that is one thing. And capital or fundraising is an important part of any startup, not just STEMREP. I think in any startup, capital is one thing. But of course, the most important is human capital. And then the second is money, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like the point around focus, right? Especially when you are when it's new and you were trying to build, you can do as many things as possible, but having a board that helps you focus and helps you drive energy in a certain area is very powerful to change the trajectory of the organization. Rona, if you now, when you move on to your next board, because these will start to escalate and build now that you're on the board of STEM reps as well, what learnings will you take going forward into these new board positions?
Yeah, I'm very pleased. Actually, I have another 2 advisory board position offer which I have accepted, and this having more advisory board will give me a broader perspective, of course, because they are on a different industry, I think with different focus. But what I learned from STEMREP is that in addition for us being the advisory board, being your springboard and we can give advice, etc. The most important as well is the management team, because it doesn't matter how much advice we give. If the strategy executions is not done well, even if we have discussed a lot, then we will not get anything done. So I think action is very important.
Absolutely. I love that. So going forward, and by the way, congratulations on your additional 2 board advisory positions as well. Going forward, when you're evaluating boards to join, you will be looking at their management teams. Is that what I'm hearing from you as well, Rona?
Yeah, management team, I think on STEMREP, I think they are very lean, but it doesn't matter whether it's 1, 3, or 10 people. But I think what is important is the driving force. The driving force, whether you really want to achieve your dream or not. When I talk to the founder and owner of the STEMREP, I think what strikes me the most is that about his dream, about his passion, that he felt that it has long been his dream and it's really his passion. So it really struck me that this person can make it.
Belief in
belief in what he is doing. So he can make it. He just needs some help.
Rona, I'm just linking to another fellow web learner that I interviewed a couple of weeks ago, Michael, right? And Michael had also shared exactly the same thing, is that you must have a passion for the board that you are joining, the subject matter, or you must see passion in the owner, like what you've shared as well. So common theme that I'm seeing coming across all our different Candid Coffees is either you have the passion or you must see the passion in other people. Very powerful, Rona. Thank you for sharing that with us. So, Rona, you've shared so many insights around your own journey and how that's influenced your board position. Tell me why you joined the Veblen Group. Give us insight into what made you decide to join the Veblen Development Program.
Yeah, I think first of all, my mission has been to contribute and to add value. And it could be in many different ways. One is through consulting, through books, webinar, online courses, business coach. And another thing is being an advisory board or non-executive board member. With my vast experience in many different industries, I've seen many companies, I feel that I can make an impact being in the board member. I can add value and contribute to them. Because I think when we help, it's not about them, but it's also about us. We help them, but at the same time, we feel that we have a sense that we achieve something, we help somebody, to make things better.
I can see that in you, right? The need to bring value across the board in every little aspect of what you do, the work that you do, but also in with the people that you work with as well. Rona, that really comes through. And you know, Rona, when I joined Veblen, I was really excited about the opportunity to network with so many different people. I thought I got to meet you as an example, and fellow Vebleners that I think now are more than 100 members strong, right, on the Veblen group. I think that's also quite interesting, the power of the network that that we have in Veblen. Can you share with me some of your experience around the networking and the vast talent that exists in the organization?
Yes, I think the network, I think, is one of the reasons to join Veblen, because otherwise, without the network, I wouldn't know about this STEM rep or other companies or even our fellow advisory boards. And in the STEM rep itself, in the composition of the board members are very vast, diversity, I would say. And the quality of the people are so excellent. I mean, they all come from a different background. Some of them have PhD. They are very successful in their career. And all of us come with what we can chip in on a different perspective. So I think it's amazing. I mean, with the diversity I see in based on their background, education background, experience background, in the gender and where they come from, because even where they come from make a difference of the point of view. Because I feel like these two advisory boards that I will be on also looking at a different background so they can get a different perspective. Like, I am woman in the minority, I live in Asia. I think that's one of the consideration, because if everyone look things just from the same point of view, they will not see where things or what they can do better.
I think you are spot on that, Rona, right? And that's an area that we've been talking about much more. You and I spoke about this when we first met, and I think as part of the Veblen community as well, is how do we bring diversity of voices onto a board for board service so that we can serve larger communities. We can represent the communities that we serve. And I love what you shared, right? It's not just about gender, race, or ethnicity. It is also about age, but it's also about the diversity of experiences, which include work experiences, but also educational backgrounds, right? And I think that's the power of a Veblen community. Now, Rona, if you had to, and this is more a futuristic question for us to delve deep into, but if you had to set up a board for hypothetical company as well, what will be the key factors you will look for when you are setting up this board? Let's assume we're doing a board of advisors and the company is a small company, around 50 employees. What would you look for the board?
I think first, I think diversity in the education and experience background. Because, for example, if this company is working as a manufacturer, then probably they will get some engineer, maybe some product, and of course some finance person. This is also very important. And also someone who has done maybe like fundraising, or maybe someone who has experience in many different industries. And also about the diversity, whether male, female, whether minority or majority. So that will all give a different perspective in the composition of the board member.
So we'll be looking for diversity of experiences, right? Without and of gender, age, etc. But I'm also hearing from you specificity for some of the areas of focus, right? Be it marketing, be it sales, be it finance, etc. So really thinking deeply, board composition is not just a group of people, but it's a carefully curated group of people that help to advance the goals of an organization. Which I think is really important for us to consider when we think about board, what value we may bring to the board, because it's not only that the board gets value from us, but what value we can bring, what value we can take from the board as well, relies on this carefully curated group of individuals, right? And if I think about myself or other potential board members, aspiring board members, like our listeners on the line today, I would assume that as much as we want to join a board, we also want to be part of a board where our experiences will matter to change the direction of the board. So that careful curated group is really, really important. So Rona, we're almost at the end of our podcast, and you have shared some spectacular insights with us today. So I'm just going to go through a couple that I've learned from you. And I hope our listeners on the line as well would, are taking away similar insights, and there are lots in what you've shared. I think the first thing I'm hearing from you, especially with your experience as a young child, is discipline, 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 right? Keeping your strong focus on discipline, on focus, on time management, all of those areas that allow us to be successful and working towards a goal. So I'm hearing that from you. The second piece that I heard from you as well is diversity, bringing diverse opinions to the table, making sure we're hearing the voices, looking for the voices that are not in the room or not around the table, because those are the ones we are going to miss. So discipline, right? And the third piece I heard from you is passion. I heard the passion in how you started your consulting company and your need to bring service and value to all around you. I heard about the passion that you would look for in a founder, and I love the example you gave around the STEMS rep founder as well. Why you joined is the passion of the founder. So discipline, diversity, and passion. Really incredible and foundational pieces, insights for us to learn from. Rona, does that make sense? Does it align with how you think about board members?
Yes, I'm aligned with you, Arvashni.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Well, Rona, thank you so much for joining us today. It has been fabulous to listen to your journey. And a journey that starts from a really young age, right? Learning work ethic from a really young age, but also how you've traversed continents, gained independence, and brought that back into your communities that you serve today in Indonesia. I also love the journey that you shared to go from large oil and gas companies, to really start to think about how do you help young startups actually making an impact as well. And I'm starting to see a theme in our Veblen directors when we look at that, in that folks or individuals that have really contributed to large organizations are asking themselves, how can I take that knowledge and help young startups, right? How do I really transfer knowledge? And I think that is almost the huge opportunity in front of us. The democratization almost of experience and knowledge, in really bringing it to these young, small startups that have the opportunity to make an impact on so many lives. And you are doing that, Rona. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure, Arvashni. Thank you for the opportunity to have this conversation with you. Thank you.
You are welcome, Rona. So listeners, thank you so much for joining us today on Candid Coffee with Ronawati Wongsoh. Rona has shared with us her valuable experiences, and I look forward to seeing you on the next Candid Coffee with another inspirational guest. Thank you very much and have a good afternoon.